Hello and welcome back. I'm so happy you're here. Today's message will be a short but powerful one. I got some really interesting information about some ancient technology, ancient crystal technology, Atlantean hieroglyphs that might be discovered soon, and information about past lives and integrating them into our current life, as well as a little bit of what it might have been like to be initiated as a priestess in ancient Egypt. So let's dive in. The first thing that I'm hearing is trine, and trine has been coming up in so many messages lately. And for this one, I began to see this prism shape, right? Like a triangular cylinder, a prism. And it's made out of this crystal, and the only way I can describe the color is Atlantean blue. It is this blue that shows up anytime I tune into Atlantis. And the closest thing I can think of in our modern day is like aquamarine, but the deeper colors of aquamarine, less of the pale ones, or like the blue of a glacier. When you see a glacier flip over and it's that really vibrant blue, it's kind of like that. So I'm seeing this crystalline prism. Then I start to see a stone column that is partially submerged underwater. And I'm seeing this column on a map. It looks like it is somewhere in the delta of the Nile River in Egypt. So it's close to the coastline. This column is partially submerged. And I see somebody take this prism and insert it into the column. And when they do that, either the water that is covering part of it recedes, or the stone column itself lifts up above the water. I see an archaeologist wiping it off, and what they see are hieroglyphs, but they're not Egyptian hieroglyphs. They're a completely different language. And these researchers have no idea what this language is or what they say, but there is someone on the team that is connected to Atlantis. I feel like it might be the head researcher. This felt like something that is going to happen fairly soon. I was given a couple of dates. I'm not going to share those just because timelines can always change. Dates are wonky in the spirit world. They don't always translate to our experience. So of course I will tell you, if those dates come to pass. But I wanted to know more about these prisms, this trine. And I hear these prisms are like a set of keys. They unlock many things. And I was seeing Atlantis, I'm seeing Egypt. It's not an Atlantean technology because it didn't originate there, but it was used in Atlantis very widely. They are these crystalline prisms, and you could plug them into certain places and it would unlock something. Sometimes this was a physical chamber. Sometimes it would open a portal. Sometimes revealing a book that only you could read if you had this prism. And there was an intelligence to these crystal keys. It wasn't like, two people with identical crystals can enter the same place. There has to be this frequency access. You have to have the right frequency in order for your crystal to open up a certain place or portal. Then I saw that some Atlanteans who went to Egypt brought this technology with them. Some of them knew that Atlantis was going to be destroyed, so they left in advance. And some were traveling not because they knew what was coming, they didn't know of the destruction coming to Atlantis, but just because they were traveling. There was a time when Atlantis and ancient Egypt were in coexistence, parallel civilizations in terms of time. And so I ask, okay, what else can you share about this? And I hear goddess, priestess. I start seeing Hathor. And then I see this Egyptian goddess, and she has a cobra over her third eye. Like the snake is on top of her head in a headpiece or a headdress, but then its neck is craned down so that its head is covering her third eye. And then I was hearing Sekhmet, Hathor, Isis. Then I start seeing reptiles, snakes, lizards. I'm hearing serpent medicine, snake medicine, slithering, sensual, sacred, secure, sovereign. And then I see triangles again, more trines. And this triangle turns into this gilded emblem on a door. It's like a handle or a key for a hidden chamber. And it just looks like a decoration. But if you know to press onto it or to turn it in a certain way, what previously looked like a big stone wall opens as a door. And then you can enter this chamber. I'm seeing this hallway, and it looks like it's in a pyramid, inside of a pyramid, lined with torches and someone carrying a torch. And they are making their way, if they know where to go, either because it has been shared with them or because they know intuitively where to go. They're going all the way to the end of the hallway. But along the way, there are trap rooms, so that if you're not supposed to be here, if you figured out how to open the door but you're actually not supposed to go where it leads, you might find your way into one of these rooms unknowingly. One of them is a room filled with snakes. Another one is, it looks like a room, but it's actually a big drop-off. It's kind of like, you may have found your way into this door, but you don't get to go where it leads unless you know the way. It is only for initiates, high priestess initiates. And I'm hearing calling, priestess calling. This is a place where people were initiated into the goddess. And I start seeing a woman who looks a bit like the Anck-su-namun character from The Mummy in terms of her adornment and what she's wearing. She comes to this room at the end of the hallway, and the ceilings are very, very high, and the walls are gilded. It almost looks like it's plated with metal, like a copper or gold. Lots of warm tones from the fire, oranges and golds and coppers. This is a place where an initiate can go to hear the voice of the goddess. And what happens in this room determines if she's able to proceed on the initiation path or not, and whether she's able to ultimately become a high priestess. So it is a room to hear the voice of the goddess. And I see her looking up toward a spot on the wall close to the ceiling, almost like where a basketball hoop would be placed. Your attention is drawn up high as if that's where the voice is coming from. And it allows this open body posture. Head up, shoulders back, heart open, tall body, channels open, hearing the voice of the goddess. When a woman enters this room, she may hear a message. She may be given a directive. She may be asked to let go of something, to surrender or sacrifice something. Usually these are habits. They might be judgments. They might be things she's doing that aren't healthy for her vessel. But each message is unique. And then I see to the right of her on the wall, there are gems embedded into the stone. There's emeralds, what looks like rubies, different colors of crystals in this really beautiful wave-like pattern. She may be allowed to take a specific gem, and she will be guided intuitively to this. And then if she reaches a certain point on her path, she will be given a headdress, and one of those gems will be placed on the headdress, maybe even onto her third eye. And then I'm hearing the gem of the goddess, the voice of the goddess, the elixir of life. So this scene fades away, and I ask, why is this message relevant right now? And I hear, many of you were initiates in a past life. You may have stopped somewhere along the way or gone straight to the top of that path. Some of you were high-ruling, high-ranking pharaohs, queens, priestesses, goddesses in form. You were royalty. Your royalty was not based off of monarchy or a human bloodline. Your royalty was based off of divinity, how clearly you could hear the voice of the goddess, how direct your connection with the ethers, realms, stars, and cosmos were, how strong your connection with your ascendants, right? Not descendants, not the people who come after you, but the ones who came before you, the star beings you come from. Remember your divinity. Remember your royalty. Remember that connection. It does not go away. It is a part of you, but it can become clouded by the illusion of 3D reality. It can become clouded by ideas of the mind, with persistent belief structures that become so dense and intricate that they block your view of what is underneath it, of what is true. You know, for us as humans, it can seem really far-fetched to think that you were royalty or a goddess or whatever. Like, I'm just me. Like, I'm just this person. But that humility is actually a tool of our systems of illusion. It's a conditioned idea, because in spirit, there is no hierarchy. There's no priestess over anybody else. All are equally worthy, equally valued, equally loved. So it's like the mere idea that you couldn't be that is just so silly. Like, if you are, you are. If you're not, you're not. And it's great either way. The more you collect the infinity stones of those past lives, the more you get to integrate the fullness of who you are in this life. Your power, your gifts and abilities, your skills, and being able to call upon a past life memory for support, for understanding, for information, for orientation to your present life circumstances. Many of us are healing timelines from past lives. This is the time. This is the lifetime to repeal, reap, repent, repeal karma. It is completing, but also recognizing that the more of your higher self you embody, the more choice you have. It's not like in past lifetimes when the collective frequency was much lower and we had to just kind of stumble through all of these challenges and eventually learn or choose something different that ultimately healed a thread of karma. A lot of us are doing that too in this life, but it can be more quantum than that. We can just decide that we're done with that. We can just choose to remediate or clear that karma instantaneously. And then I was hearing, connect with your past lives. Ask for a dream. Ask your guides for a dream, to dream of a story you once lived. Trust which past lives come to you for reclamation, understanding and absorbing that self into your present self. Trust the ones that come into your view. It is impossible to connect with every single one of your past or parallel or future lives because it would be overwhelming. Trust what comes through for you. And I had asked more about this. I wanted to know more information. You shouldn't be made aware of every single lifetime you've ever lived because there are so many. Some of these are very short. Some are side quests you do even in dream time. And if you became aware of all of those, it would overload your brain. Like, as amazing as the human brain is, we don't have enough capacity to hold and process all of that data. Like, it would just be really overwhelming and not actually helpful. And they're saying to cherish the past lives you are aware of. Cherish them so that you can learn from them, understand them. Understand some of your present life challenges, some of your potential. Understand the fables, the lessons of the stories of those lives. Stories come to us in all sorts of ways, right? We get them through movies and books, through people we talk to. But one of the ways we get stories is through learning about our past lives. And it's not that it's false, right? It's not just a made-up story. It's like nothing has as much of an impact as a story that happened to you. You could hear about it from someone else. You could hear someone else telling a story of their past life. And sometimes those are really impactful for us. But because you heard it as you, and you are the main character, you had all of the insight and high emotions and compassion and learning and heartache and expansion and, whatever you experienced in that lifetime, it impacted you. It stayed with you because it was you. And then I was wondering about the concept of there not being any past or future lives really, but them all happening now as parallel lives, because there's no moment other than now. There's no true past and future. So I was asking, like, is it truly simultaneous? And it was like, yes, but there's something else. It's not like there's just 100 fractals of you, each having their own complete lifetime simultaneously. The one you inhabit now, the one you are listening with, the one you call you, that is your foremost incarnation. That is your primary. But there are also these, it almost looks like octopus tentacles branching out to the side to experience an arc and another story. And these are soul fractals. They can be fragmented through trauma. They can be fragmented through choice by your higher self and your spirit team to basically go live a story and an arc and learn from that. It's like the tentacle goes out and then loops back in. And when it loops back in, it integrates the story and the learning and the healing into your current self, your primary incarnation. Then I start seeing this lioness. Her eyes are glowy. She's really looking at me. And I'm hearing Sekhmet, Lyran. There are many other beings who have different qualities that you can call upon by connecting with them. You can receive or retrieve those qualities in order to support the path you're walking on. And this was really a message about connecting with archetypes. It can be a certain being that you're aware of, like Sekhmet, like Mary Magdalene, or, whomever resonates with you. But it can also be a tarot card you have that represents a certain archetype. It can be a feminine or masculine archetype you're aware of, the high priestess, the magician, the lover, the child, the fool. These are representations of aspects of you that are fully embodied in our stories of those archetypes. And that this is one of the ways that we can really expand our embodiment, our awareness, our healing, and anything that we're trying to do in this life, that archetypes are such places of power. So then I ask, who has shared this message? And some of it I already know, and I hear the Atlantean Collective. And then I see this council. I see Sekhmet. I see many Lyrans. But I can't get the name exactly. The name is light language, and it's like Kela Falute, Kela Faluteo, Falutuleo, Bushka Kaleo. I can see the word written out in front of me, but it's hard to say. And I was really kind of stumbling over it for a few minutes. And I said, can I have a translation into human English for the name of your council? And I just hear, it cannot be translated. I could feel it so strongly. The energy was beautiful. Kela Falute, Kela Fatuleo. I think that's one of my next intentions in my own channeling practice, is clearing whatever it is in my throat chakra that is in some way resistant to light language, to speaking it. Because in the past, I've been able to have it come through and it just flows and it just rolls off the tongue. But lately, it's been a little staccato and kind of clumsy. So yeah, looking forward to that. Thank you so much for joining me today for this message. I'll have another one for you next week. These have been so beautiful to receive, to share, to bring to you. And I'd love to hear in the comments any part of this that stuck out to you, any realizations you had. And please do share this, like this, subscribe for more, and I'll see you next week.